Happy Thanksgiving. Well, I know it's early, probably hasn't started for you yet, but maybe if you're at a parent's house, they already started cooking. At least in my house, growing up, Thanksgiving would begin at like 4 a.m. because my mom would throw usually the pernil or like pork shoulder, but in Puerto Rican we eat pernil, and that's the most important part of the table. The turkey is the least most important part, but she will put it in at like 3 or 4 a.m. so that it can be ready by the time it was time to eat. But that's not what we're here. We're not talking about food, although it's very important that you work out. I highly recommend doing that in the morning so that you can enjoy a Thanksgiving meal later on in the evening with some dessert. At least that's what I'm gonna do. So many people talk about Thanksgiving and going with family and like how much it can bring things up politically, work wise. You always hear people complain about, unfortunately, maybe you're doing some kind of work that they don't agree with, or maybe you're trying to be an entrepreneur and build something and they don't agree with, or they don't get what you do. There's so many things. But I think Thanksgiving, I mean, we know through the history of why it was created, and there's, it's not perfect, right? But the fact that it was a time to bring community together from diverse backgrounds. It was a time to have dinner in the simplest way to just show thanks to everything around you. It's a time to be grateful. And I noticed that this week that's very much been happening to me, like this immense sense of gratitude. And I think Thanksgiving is really a time to build community, whether you're in a new relationship and you're meeting their family for the first time, or you're going to see your own family. I think it's time to put away all that BS, all the BS that maybe your family has shown, and just not talk about it. I think that Thanksgiving is a time to just be grateful, to see your family in a better light, and not look at all the darkness that may exist in family, because they all have them, right? There's a famous, I think it's a Buddhist saying, and basically it's like, if you think you're enlightened, spend a weekend with your family. And that's very much a Thanksgiving time. I think family can trigger us in a lot of ways because they some somewhat know us, sometimes more than we know ourselves. Or when you go to family, sometimes it activates a child part of you, and it's unfortunate, but through emotional intelligence, through building tools in your tool belt. And for me, that's like breathing, that's taking a walk by myself, that's working out in the morning. Unfortunately, keeping things superficial. And I don't get too deep. I ask more questions. I seek to understand versus being understood. These are things that I do when I'm with my family on Thanksgiving, and not trying to talk about things that we shouldn't talk about. I also think it's a time to love, it's a time to show grace, and it's a time to understand. It's a time to forgive. If you haven't done that already, I think forgiveness is such a powerful tool. And just being there, being present, and being loving and caring and listening to other people, and not sitting there and trying to argue or give opinions or say you're doing that wrong or any of that BS. It's a time to relax. It's a time to just find those moments of gratitude and grace with your family. I don't want to keep this long. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you enjoy your meal tonight. And until tomorrow.